Welcome back, fellow rock tumblers. Are you ready for another rock tumbling video? Well, how about we take these rocks, see how well they'll all tumble and polish. What's the story behind these rocks? Turns out these are all rocks that I picked up along Hovey Road near Alpine, Texas. Last weekend, my wife and I went out to the Alpine area to do some rock hounding. We got on the private ranches and found lots of great agates. Of course, there's a cost for doing that. You have to pay an entry fee and you have to pay for the rocks you take out. These rocks I collected along Hovey Road, which is a public road, so they didn't cost me anything. Now, I looked at all these and thought they should take a good tumble and shine. A lot of these are chert. Several of them are actually agate. I've got a whole variety in here. I believe that these should all take a good tumble and polish. We have a good size, variety, lots of interesting shapes. What do you think? You think these are all going to take some brilliant shines? We're going to find out. What I'll do next is I'll get these in the rotary tumbler in the 6090 Coarse grit, and I'll get them rolling. I'll keep them rolling until they're nice and smooth. That could take me, gosh, several weeks. Once these are nice and smooth, I'll bring them back in here and I'll show you what they look like before moving them onto the polishing stages. Welcome back inside. Our Hovey Road rocks are finally done with the coarse grit grinding, and what should have taken a couple of weeks has actually taken me several months. That's right. It has been several months since I started tumbling these things, and they're all in pretty good shape right now, but gosh, it took a long time. Most of these were, in fact, chert, and that is a very hard stone. So it just took forever to get these smooth the way I like them. They're obviously much smaller than they were, but I think they're in a better place because now they should be able to take a great shine. This one still has a little natural divot right there. I decided to leave that in because I think this was the very last rock I was tumbling, and it has literally been rolling for 5 months, I think. It's been a long time, and I just said, screw it. That's okay. I'll live with that. A lot of them are going to be these little pieces of chalcedony, which should take a good shine. And what else do we have in here? Well, more of the chalcedony and more of the chert. These are just the rocks that I picked up along Hovey Road. There are a lot of them along there. It's fun to do. Now, let's see how shiny we can get these. What I'm going to do next is get all of these in the vibratory tumbler. I'll go for probably 12 days. I'll use 4 different grits, and after that final 14,000 grit aluminum oxide polish, I'll bring all these back in here and I'll show you what they look like. After many months of tumbling and polishing, our Hovey Road rocks are finally finished. And did we get some good ones? Well, mostly they're pretty shiny. I'm overall happy with the batch. Now remember, these were just picked up alongside Hovey Road out there near Alpine, Texas. So you never know what you're going to find. It's surrounded by mountains that have produced some of the most gorgeous agates I have ever seen. Did we get some good ones in this batch? Let's take a closer look at some of the nicer ones. Several pieces are going to be just like this one here, chert. I love chert. I think chert is very underrated. It takes a glorious polish, and sometimes the patterns can be just stunning. You just keep grinding these in the coarse grit and the pattern changes. Now, I stopped when I got them smooth, but needless to say, had I continued to grind them, they just look different, still shiny, just smaller and different looking. Like a chameleon rock. I think a great way to start this batch. I picked up several pieces like this, little chunks of chalcedony. This stuff also takes a great shine, as you can see. And as you tumble them down, you can decide how much of that white stuff you want to remain on the rock, and then start polishing. In this case, I left enough on just to give it some character. I believe this one is chert, but boy, is it pretty. Wait until you see it up close. When I turn it here, isn't that a gorgeous pattern right there? And right there, ooh. I do like this one a lot. There's your little cloud on that side. Yeah, once again, this stuff is just peppered throughout Hovey Road. Check out this mossy beauty right here. Wow. Has some quartz in it as well. and just lovely, lovely mossiness. That's what I call that West Texas golden moss right there. I find that stuff just beautiful. Gotta show the dark rocks some love. This is probably what's left of one rock. One of the rocks fell apart. I think these are all the pieces from it. It's that dark, dark, dark chalcedony with some of that host rock still in it. I find it really attractive. It takes a great shine for the most part. What do you think? Time for another chunk of chert. Look at this one here. Ooh. Yep. Very nice. Oh, this is the one that had that natural dimple in it. So this was officially the last one in the coarse grit. And I decided just to move on and get it shined up like this. And I'm glad I did. I think it has lots to offer, in spite of the fact that it's got a big ugly flaw right there. This small one could be in the running for best of the batch, but it's just too small. Look at the beautiful blue in there. I don't know if you can see it in this light. I think you can. There's blue banding right there. And look at that blue up on top. Wow. I wish this rock were a lot bigger because I think it's just beautiful. I hope you agree. If I were given an award for best looking small piece of chert, this one might win right here. It has lots of that white stuff still left in it, forming those clouds. I think they contrast very nicely against the tan colored chert of the rock. So overall, good looking rock, right? It's not all light colored chert. Here's a dark piece. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. It's just dark chert. Hopefully it's coming through. The lighting's difficult with the shine. The reflection always messes with my camera, and this time I even increased the exposure, hoping to bring out more of the color. Well, I do the best I can. These iPhones aren't perfect. They're good, but they're not perfect. Check out this agate rock right here. Yeah, this looks like a dark chunk of chalcedony. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this was just laying there on the side of the road, just begging to be taken back to Austin and shined up. Just about all of my batches will have one dud. In this case, we got 3 for the most part. So these 3, I'm not happy with. This one just did not take much of a shine. Not sure what it is, but it's not very good. This one did not take much of a tumble. It does have a decent shine, but as you can see, it's super pitted and not very interesting. This one, gosh, I don't know what this is. It's almost like a sandstone or something. But once again, very, very pitted and not a good looking rock. So these are my 3 duds of the batch. This one may be small, but it offers quite a bit in the way of mossiness. Look at that right there. I find that very attractive. Yep, you can find these just along the side of the road there. Well, to be fair though, these might not have looked like this until after the coarse grit grinding. So sometimes you just have to be lucky. How about another chunk of this chalcedony? Yeah, this stuff's pretty common out there, even along Hovey Road. Yes, it's been picked through quite a bit, but you can still find this stuff out there. And trust me, it's always fun to tumble these pieces because look at what you can get once you're finished. And another piece of chert for you chert lovers to enjoy. This one's rather plain. Doesn't offer a whole lot, but it's shiny. And that's the name of the game as far as I'm concerned. So there. Now it's time to show you my lone red rock in this group. This one was much bigger when we started. I had to get it smooth so it stayed in the coarse grit. And actually, I'm not too disappointed with it. It does have those lighter areas which are a little bit softer. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty decent looking apostrophe rock. That's what we'll call it, apostrophe rock. This one's small, but it's kind of interesting. It's sort of like maybe a banded chert. I'm not sure. Actually, it could be agate now that I'm looking at it here. Any experts out there want to weigh in on this one? I wish it were a little bit bigger. It's hard to hold. Has nice stripes and nice detail. So here's a small one that packs quite a punch. Look at this as I bring it in closely. It has what I think is a beautiful pattern on it there. Look at that. The reflection does mess with it a little bit, but I think you can see enough to appreciate what I'm talking about. It's sort of like a moss agate. Very pretty. Check out this big old chunk of chert right here. This one offers quite a bit. We have those little, well, what do you call those little orange areas? I was going to call them stains, but I don't know what those are. I like them. Looks like some ancient language written on there. Good shine. Otherwise, well, sort of plain. Nice tumble too. I like a good smooth tumble like this. This is my ideal rock right here. Now, just because this one is dark, don't let it fool you. It's difficult to see, especially on this side, but watch as I turn it over. Let's see if I can bring, yeah, there we go. Notice the detail within there. You see that in there? Let's see if I can get the light even better. It looks like a super fine, dark moss agate. You see all that right there? When I said earlier that you just never know what you'll find in these rocks, this is a good example. This is one that I tumbled, not knowing that right there, I think you can see it, was what was inside this rock. Now, I find that really cool looking. And as you can see, it takes a heck of a shine too. So yeah, don't let the dark skin fool you. This one really has some stuff in there if you look very closely. Now, this one was nearly best of the batch in my opinion. Wait until you see this one up close. Right there you can kind of see the chalcedony and the different colors, but on this side it's even better. Look at this here. Once again, one of those rocks that I picked up along Hovey Road, had no idea it was going to look like this until it got ground down in the coarse grit and then polished in the vibratory tumbler. Another contender for best of the batch. It is chert, but it's beautiful chert. Look at this. Wow, I could tumble this stuff all day long, knowing that it can turn out like this. Now, mind you, I prefer banded chert, and I've got lots of that going right now. Hopefully they will turn out beautiful, but in the meantime, just this sort of standard chert with those white cloudy patches on them can really turn out just beautiful. Here you can see the remaining smalls that I have in this batch. These were all, again, little rocks I picked up along Hovey Road, and they took a nice tumble and shine. And quite frankly, a couple of them are really interesting. They're just very difficult to show because they're so darn small. I'm going to give this one runner-up for best of the batch. Look at this one up close. It has some amazing detail in it. You see that right there? Let me turn it over. Yeah, look at that. Unfortunately, it's very dark. I hope it's coming through okay on your screen. It's difficult to capture that, but you can see the chalcedony. Then you see those tiny bubbles everywhere, those little fish eyes. Really a neat rock. And once again, something I didn't notice until I started tumbling it. So this was just a dark rock I saw that had maybe a waxiness to it that I figured would make a good tumbler. And sure enough, I get it, and look what it reveals. Wow. So this is my second favorite rock of the batch. For best of the batch, I'm going with this one. Although it's not a flawless tumble, it has also some amazing detail. Look at the bubbles there, and as I turn it, oh sure, it's got that otherworldly look to it. I think that's beautiful. Look at that right there. It almost has like a fish scale pattern right there. What kind of agate is this? I have no idea. It's pretty, in spite of the fact that it has those coarse areas. I still think this one is best of the batch. I sure want to thank you all so much for watching this rock tumbling video. I hope you enjoyed it. I think we got some really good ones this time. And remember, these were just found along a public road in West Texas. You never know what you're going to get until you start these rolling in the coarse grid. And then, if you're lucky, you'll get some little treasures. And I think we got lucky in this batch. Hope you agree. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And be sure and check my other videos for more like this. Thanks again.